Okay, welcome guys. If you're interested in stock market technical analysis, this is the channel for you. Let's get right into the stock charts. What I'm going to do is go through the indices. We'll look at some individual stocks and sectors, try to find some trade ideas. Again, not every, we don't find something every day. So sometimes the video is just covering, what the market's telling us today. And that's kind of what I'm seeing today. Right now, you'll see here on the SPY, we're going to start out with the S&P 500. Pretty much all week, we've really gone nowhere. I mean, look at this price compression right here where you've got basically 5 days of these little tiny open and close thin bars. Basically, where we open is where we close. And we've done that for all week. So there's really been no real movement in price, at least on from a swing trading perspective. So we're just continuing that. We're just kind of drifting sideways, and the market's really flat. So that's all I see there on the SPY. Nothing really else to talk about on that one. Same really with the Qs. Little more movement in tech, but for the most part, basically sideways. You can see here just all week we've really gone nowhere, and I don't see any change in posture or anything technically set up on the Qs. If I go to the hourly chart here, still waiting for some sort of a breakdown of this 334 area, some sort of a sell signal. But as of right now, we're just drifting sideways. Let's look at the small caps. Not really much going on there. On the small caps, really just waiting for a break of this trend line right here, this upward trend line that the small caps has been walking up. We have divergence. We've got negative divergence. So really just looking for a breakdown or a sell signal of this trend line. Until then, we're just likely going to drift sideways to up. The trend is up. So, the market will likely just trend, kind of grind higher. And then we'll get that breakdown and sell signal. So I'm just waiting for that. Looking at Deere, John Deere here. We'll just go into some trade ideas. You can see uptrend line right there. Nice, clean, clear uptrend line. Negative divergence on the daily. So that tells us that we're likely going to get a sell signal or a break of this trend, this upward trend. And we're waiting for that break. Now you can see today it's starting to kind of break. It's not impulsive though. And so usually when I see a break, I want to see impulsive selling. I want to see a flush. Where all of a sudden just everyone notices all of a sudden the trend is broken and everyone's on the same page. And longs are selling and shorts are piling in. That's kind of what you want to see as a sell signal. And that's not what this looks like. This is just kind of a little bit of a dip below, and the day's not closed yet. So likely we're going to, we could easily recover. This is not a sell signal. So looking for more impulsive selling than this. Now it could come in. We could sell off impulsively into the close, but as of right now, we don't see it. If you look at the hourly here, you can see we're starting to kind of work our way back up. So not a sell signal there. Nothing on that one. Ford, this is another one that kind of, we have a setup, we just don't have a sell signal or a trigger. So here's a nice clean upward channel going back to the March 2020 lows. And you can see they gapped it down and we're right there at the trend line. So again, you need to see a break or a impulsive breakdown and close below that trend to give you that sell signal. And we just don't have that yet. We do have negative divergence right there on the PPO, and we also have it there on the RSI. So we've got indications telling us momentum is fading, but no break, no impulsive break of the trend line. So until you see that sell signal, we're at support, and this could obviously continue to move higher. Etsy, just want to kind of update everyone on this. So I've been short this thing for quite a while. I mean, really coming back all the way to February, I've been short, and it's really gone nowhere. It's just kind of been oscillating between a range of, really the upper area of the range is about 227.50. And the lower end of the range is about 197 with a couple brief dips below. And again, we're still within that range, coming back down to the lower end of the range. Still looking for a breakdown and, an impulsive break. I think likely when this one breaks, it's going to be very quick. So it'll probably break and sell off, within a matter of just 1 to a couple days. And next level of support really is going to be about 167, and the 200-day moving average is right down there as well. So I'm really looking for a breakdown, at least a tag of that 200-day moving average. And that's really the trade for me, is probably going to cover on a move like that. Again, we have negative divergence right here. See the long extended negative divergence that really has not been negated, and we just haven't had that breakdown yet. So still think that's coming, and a move from where we're at down to that 200 is still about another 16%. So looking for that one, still remaining short. I haven't seen any reason or indication to get out of the short, so we'll just wait for that. But heading back down to the lower end of the range, down 4% today, and waiting for that breakdown. Update on Joe or coffee. So this one's down 1% today, but it doesn't look impulsive. It doesn't really look like a breakdown or any reason why I don't think the uptrend is still intact. So as far as I can tell, we're making higher lows. There's a low, there's a higher low. These are divergent lows I have circled, and we continue to make higher lows and higher highs. We just recently put in a higher high right here. So continuing to uptrend. So I think likely we're going to hold in this area and move up to the next level of resistance, which is about 45.50. Looking at corn and some of these other soybeans, these are up. So I don't see an indication that the commodities trade is weakening, and I still see a bullish trend in a lot of these. So continuing to stick with this coffee one, I'm long Joe. And looking at these gold miners, they continue to hold support. We're testing support again today. But look at Newmont. I want to point this out. Yesterday, I talked about how it broke its support line. Here's the daily chart. See this downtrend line right here? We just, that's your downward trend in Newmont. And recently, we broke out to the upside. And there's your breakout. Look at that big impulsive candle as well. That is what that's a buy signal. See how impulsive of a breakout that is? Nice big green impulsive breakout is what you want to see. And we and there was follow through too. Now it came back down and it's testing support again. So as you zoom in, here's what yesterday looked like. When I put out the video, Newmont was way down here. It had broken back down. By the end of the day, the buyer stepped in and it bounced it, and they recovered that trend line, closing back above support. That's a very bullish price action to see something break below, wash out anybody who run some stops and then recover it. And today we're up slightly. Moving slightly higher, kind of holding that support. So again, very bullish price action into the close yesterday and today in Newmont. And Newmont's the largest gold miner. So if this one's going to hold and still look pretty bullish, I think a lot of the other gold miners should do the same. And as I scroll through a lot of these, they're all basically continuing to hold support. Here is like BTG. Let me get rid of that. Here's BTG. You can see here, basically holding its support. IM Gold, IAG, it's holding its trend line support. Just, basically right there. HMY holding support. Again, WPM still above its support. These are all trend lines that I've had for a long time. And all these miners just continue to hold support. Here's the Yamana still above support. Royal Gold right at support. So again, all of these, here's Barrick Gold, slightly up today, not much, but still holding support. And Agnico Eagle, I have support right about here at 62.70. That's about where support's at. You can see we're just holding support again. So in general, if you're looking to add to a mining position or take a long position, I think this is an objective area, in my opinion. It's not, nothing's guaranteed, and obviously everything I talk about on this channel is just my opinion. It's not trading advice, but this looks like an objective area. So I've been adding a little bit to my positions yesterday and today, and it still looks good. We're looking for a continuation of the trend to the upside. So, yeah. I was looking at Mara and Riot. Someone asked me to take a look at those. So these are Bitcoin proxies. So we'll take a look at the Bitcoin futures and then kind of loop back. So here's what I got on Bitcoin. We've got this upward price channel or trend line right there on the daily chart on the futures. We have negative divergence. So that's cleanly and clearly there and visible. And we have a break of trendline support. So as far as I can tell, Bitcoin is a short. Now, is it a short right where we're at? That's kind of the decision you have to make. We could run up and do a back test. Ideally, I'd prefer to see that. You know, if Bitcoin wants to run up and maybe hit 70,000, 72,000 or so on these futures, then that would be a full back test. And that would be the area I'd be the most interested in getting short one of these Bitcoin proxies. But I don't know if we're going to get there. You know, I don't know if we'll get all the way up there or not. Looking at, well, we can start off with Mara. Mara basically broke its trend. It did have a breakdown of the trend, but it's been kind of drifting sideways. So ultimately, really looking for a break of about 20, you know, it's about 24. And then we got the 200-day below at like 16. So I could see that, a move down to there. But again, you know, that Bitcoin chart still kind of, it's hard to say whether we're going to get that full back test. And then here's Riot. Again, just let me get rid of that. We don't need that. But basically just range bound, and it's a large range. You know, top of the range is about 64.30. Bottom of the range is 34.40. That range, I mean, that's a, you know, 50% range. So again, given that we're kind of right, you know, slightly in the middle of the range to the lower end, it's not objective right here. I'd really prefer to be, you know, shorting up at the top of the range or on a breakdown of the bottom of the range. Snap, and we'll probably wrap up here because I just don't see anything really else going on today. It's just kind of a flat week. There's just not a lot of movement. So not, you know, we have some trade setups, but we have no actionable trade triggers right now. So Snap, again, we're just continuing to hold this resistance line. So there's your downtrend line right there in Snap. I still think you know, this is likely where we get rejected and continue lower. You can see we've tested this resistance 4 days. You know, we tested it here, 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 and here, and we're still below it. So as far as I can tell, Snap still looks good as a short, and I'm still looking for it to run down to this, you know, $30 area all the way down here. See that big gap? Looking for a gap fill right there. Negative divergence on Snap right there on both indicators. And here was your uptrend line right there. We broke that trend. You know, we broke, recovered it, broke again, back test. And now we're just starting, you know, I think we're likely going to just continue to trend lower. So now, one thing on Snap, we could break above this trend line, and if we do, we're likely going to run up and do another backtest of this broken trend line. So that's something to watch for. It's hard to know whether that's going to happen because I don't see anything in the chart telling me that's going to happen. But if it does, that would be a move of, you know, 12, 13%. You may not want to ride that one out. But again, I don't think it's likely because here's the thing. This yesterday and even today, they made it look like it was going to run up and do that, where it was running higher. It was all the way up here at $64 at one point in time, and still by the end of the day sold off and closed back below resistance. Again today, popped it above there, sold off, and still below resistance. So I don't think we're going to do that back test. I do really think this is going to roll over and work its way lower down towards that $30 range. That's the trade right now, and I'm just sticking with that one, still short. And that's really all I got. There's just not a whole lot going on. So we'll wrap it up here, and I will catch you guys on the next video.